thinking of one scenario of two different things. One where the depressed people are listening to music, choosing the music on their own, and one is when they are entering a, let's say, a theater or some space, and they are listening to music that is playing there. So the effect of both these musics might be different.
Yes, it definitely is, because they are not choosing the music in theater, but they actually have a little bit of an effect, like a bias on their experience as well. We have, my colleagues at our department have conducted studies where they have put regular people and depressed clients to rate music in terms of what kind of emotions is the music expressing, like this kind of task that you actually did, a little bit of a similar kind, that what does the music express? And the results show that the depressed people, they actually perceive more negative emotions in the music, regardless of the music. They have like this general bias of perceiving everything, also the emotional content of music, in a more negative light. So they actually do impact, they have their own impact. The depression has an impact on even a theater experience of how they perceive the music. So, but of course, then there is a difference when you yourself choose the music, because you are sort of have two types of or ways of sort of transferring your problem to the use, because you choose music that is sadder and you perceive it more sad. So it's even does maybe doubles the effect.
So you were talking about the depressed adolescents. So they were diagnosed with depression before you went through with this experiment?
Yes. So for the interviews, the adolescents were from. They were diagnosed with depression or some other behavioral problem. So, but most of them were diagnosed with depression, and with the HUMS validation research, there were several surveys done. In some of them they were clinical population, in some of them they were larger regular population where we just conducted a self-report rating of depressive tendencies. So different experiments have used different populations, but also clinical populations have been there.
Okay, because then that leads me to just one another, I mean, in my head it's a weird question. So essentially now we are talking about, probably lay people who may have been affected with, I mean, they have some, condition, depressive condition in them. And then you have the musicians, for example, who might express themselves using music. Nobody has diagnosed them as depressive. They express through music, which is very, again, depressing. And you might just dismiss it as saying that's another song.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and I mean, musicians, I mean, a famous Finnish composer of whom you have never heard of probably, Jan Sibelius, he said that your music is just as great as is your pain. So oftentimes we do, as composers or music makers, we do process our own emotions when we make. I'm a kind of a songwriter, not really, but I have made some songs, and I can relate to this process of putting your heart of blood in there and express that there. And the people who listen to the music, they can relate to that. But oftentimes the process goes so that we can then see the process as some sort of a healing process as well. That you can address difficult things, but then there is maybe hope in the end.
I was just thinking, one of it can be that you're expressing the music and you're moving on. That's a way. that you're getting out of the depression. The other way is if you're really depressive, like your paper
yes.
shows, you may actually get stuck with it. So how do
Yeah.
you ascertain for, say, a musician?
Yes, I mean, I wouldn't say that musicians are all depressed. That's definitely not the case. But but there is this process of maybe processing your emotions when you compose as well.
Also, I think is a difference if you are depressed and you are listening to a certain song and you know that song tells you something about yourself, or if you're composing a song, I think the processes would be different as well, because you're using music as a medium to get certain emotion out. It's more expressive than, you know, receptive. So I think the process would in any case be different on how you process those feelings.
Regarding the scale which you have, the healthy, unhealthy music, yeah, okay, the scale. So why have you specifically chosen children and adolescents? Why not adults?
Because you have to choose some focus at first and then continue to somewhere. It's just because of my background. I've been working with adolescent developmental psychology, and Katrina McFerran works with adolescents. So that was our special, what we knew of best, so that was based on that. But I agree that, of course, the results are probably not completely adolescent specific. They can probably be, the general ideas behind are
So how difficult do you think is it to take it towards the adult scale? I mean, what challenges would you foresee?
sorry?
What challenges would you foresee if we have to take the scale for the adults?
For the adults. They were all adults, yeah. So there are maybe not that big differences, because what we know of emotion regulation through music is that these regulation strategies, entertainment or diversion or mental works, solace seeking, different kinds of aspects, they seem to be present in teenagers, in adults, in 70-year-olds. So in terms of how people use music, the basic structure of emotion processing is not essentially different in different populations. So I think it could be generalized. Blanvino here just said that the India validation was actually done with adults, young adults, so 18 to up to something. So apparently, yeah, it seems to be validatable to that population too.
I want to just, sorry.
No, I was just going to say one last question and we move to the panel discussion afterwards.
Okay, fine. I just wanted to make an observation on today's slide, structure, function, music, what it can bring out. You'd given us, and you'd mentioned episodic memory there. And going back to yesterday's slide where they talked about dementia and rehabilitation, when they said that if it's a song with a lyric and the 40s or 50s music which they're familiar with, it brings back a lot. I just wanted to, it brings back the music to them, but that's a lucid moment when that music brings not just the episodic memory comes in, and that's why they remember the music. But along with that, associated, they're with family, they're sitting in the drawing room and in the 40s, and they've had fun. All that comes back to them. And at that point, they might not be they might be in a state of dementia when they cannot recognize their relatives. But at that point, that music can bring it back. And they can recognize the relative for that moment. That's a lucid moment, and then it goes.
Yes, I mean, dementia care is definitely one area where music is used a lot. I mean, I was just talking about depression, but music is used for so many, like cognitive rehabilitation, various, probably autistic individuals, a lot of different, and dementia is definitely one of the one of the important uses, because music, in a way, it is a sort of a soundtrack of our lives, and it's emotionally taking us there through emotions, which then is combined with the conceptual memories.
Well, so I guess we'll move on to the panel discussion, so that will allow more insight into many things. So I would like to invite Jonna to join Suvi, and Professor Nimi, who is our in-house anthropologist, human computer, music fan of music, of course, who isn't? Well, there are some people, but yeah. So I guess this would be quite interesting, because she, because her background is anthropology, sociology, the context and culture. So I think it would be very interesting to see, what questions arise. So, yeah.
Can you all hear us?